Hello everyone, Brian here, and as you can see I got a game of Modern Warfare 2 for you. This is Team Deathmatch on Wasteland. I have to say I am enjoying this game a lot more than I did my first time around playing this on the PS3. I'm really glad I decided to pick this up again, as I find myself having a lot more good games than I ever did when I played before. Of course, there's still more than the fair share of clunkers thrown in there, as to be expected. But I really see on average that my scores are much higher. The KDs are much higher for me. And since I'm just starting out now, I've only been playing this for a few weeks now, and I don't really know how many kills I have off the top of my head, but I see my KD increasing by a couple points every single night. I think right now I'm approaching 1.4 to somewhere in that ballpark. So I'm already off to a much better start than I ever was on the PS3. And not to play spoiler or anything for you, but this game ends up at a 33-7 score. It gets off to a little bit of a slow start as we keep flipping spawns and just keep pushing them all the way around the map. But I do manage to get my act together towards the end of the game, and I turn what was a pretty close game overall into a little bit more of a lopsided victory, and I really helped pull it out for my team. Not to pat myself on the back or anything, but if I'm not going to do it, who is? But I'm really not going to talk about the gameplay at all. You guys obviously can see it for yourself. I am going to tell you guys a story today. After the last couple stories I told, some of you had a little bit of an impression that I was somewhat of a player in my younger days. And guys, I'm here to tell you that really was not the case. Sure, I did have my moments where everything was just working for me, and I ended up with the girl by the end of the night. But many nights that was just not the case, whether it be because I did something stupid or whatever the case may have been. So I figured I'd tell you one of my failure stories today, because I thought you might find that funny and somewhat entertaining. When I was a lot younger, my friends and I were pretty much creatures of habit. Before we were all 21, we pretty much did the same thing every weekend. We went to Bennigan's or someplace like that, and then we went bowling, shot some pool, and just hung out because obviously, a lot of people were under 21 and we couldn't drink. But once we were all over 21, and whether some of us had girlfriends or not, that was always, up in the air. There was a certain club we always went to, because really there weren't that many in my area, and this one was called the Jet City Cafe. It was more of a bar than it was a club. I say that because it had a small dance floor, which, suited me just fine, as I really never fancied myself much of a dancer, because I am not very good at it. I am the prototypical white boy in that respect, as I don't have a whole lot of rhythm. And also because I just really don't enjoy doing it. You have to have just the right mix of alcohol in me to even get me on the dance floor and to have any somewhat decent results from me. But since we went there so often, obviously we saw a lot of the regular people, or a lot of the same people every single weekend when we went. And there was this one girl that would hang out on the dance floor. And guys, I'm here to tell you, this girl had some moves. She looked so good out on the dance floor. It almost brought a tear to your eye. She was a really attractive girl as well, and like I said, for you older guys, or even some of you younger guys as well, even at school dances maybe nowadays, sometimes you see a girl and you just look at her when she dances and she's got good rhythm and she's moving the hips just the right way. And whenever I would see a woman dance like that, the same thought would always go through my head. If she can move like that on the dance floor, I wonder how she can move between the sheets, if you know what I'm saying. And like I said, we would see this girl every single weekend, and we would pretty much just spend a lot of time of the evening watching her dance, because that was entertaining in and of itself. And like I said, my friends and I were not really good at working the bar scene. And we used to watch a lot of guys walk up to her every single weekend while she was up on the dance floor and try to dance with her. And 99% of the time, she would turn away from them or leave the dance floor and go sit down with her girlfriends again. And since many nights when we went up there, nothing really worked out for us, and we ended up with no women. And as the saying always goes, misery loves company. So we would get a pretty good kick out of watching these guys get shot down by this girl out on the dance floor time and time again, and see them with that slightly dejected and rejected look on their face as they slouch on back to their seat, and look for the next woman that they can possibly talk to and pounce on, dance with, whatever you want to call it. But this one night, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's just the right amount of alcohol was in me, or if my friends were just talking to me, or if I was just in a certain mood, or if it was a combination of all the above. But I had this strange thought that, hey, even with my no-rhythm white boy dance moves, I'm going to go up to that dance floor and I'm going to make a play for this girl. So, invariably, I did walk up to the dance floor, and much to my surprise, and pretty much everyone else's surprise in the bar as well, she did not turn away from me. She actually moved in even closer and started grinding with me a little bit on this night, and was very interested in me up there dancing with her. So, I mean, despite my shock, I kept my cool, and I danced with her for a little bit. And after a little while of, standing up there and dancing with her and chit-chatting with her a little bit, I did eventually excuse myself for a moment because I didn't want to totally ruin a good thing and start breaking out some really retarded dance moves. So I excused myself, went back and got a drink. And my friend was hanging out with her girlfriend that night as well, doing the wingman type thing, talking to her while I was making a play for her friend. And I don't know what entered my head this night as well, but I had the idea as I was back there having a drink with the two of them, and I started talking to her a little bit. Like I said, I don't know if I was just up on cloud nine because the first girl was interested in me, but I was sitting there talking to her, and I had the idea that I was more interested in her friend. And I decided to sit there and start hitting on her a little bit. And much to my dismay, I very quickly found out that this girl was married. So needless to say, this was just not going to happen for me with her. She was not going to cheat on her husband with me. I'm not that good. So inevitably what happened was the girl I was originally dancing with up on the dance floor decided to take a little bit of a break and come over and talk to her other girlfriend. And the girlfriend excused themselves and they went into the bathroom. And obviously they talked about what I was up to. That I was hitting on her after I had made a play for the one that was on the dance floor. And as I'm sure you can already guess, the one I was dancing with wasn't too happy with what I had decided to do with her friend, and never came back to talk to us again that night. The married girl did come back and say goodnight to my friend Mike, but not so much me, as you can guess. And needless to say, guys, I blew it big time. Big time. Like I said, I don't know what the heck could have gotten into me. I got a big head. I don't know if I could blame it on the alcohol a little bit. Whatever the reason or excuse I could try to possibly give you guys for how I choked so bad, the end result was I blew what possibly could have been a really good night, and one I may have remembered. Well, actually, I already do remember it for the huge failure that it was, but one I probably could have a little bit better memory of all this time later. And needless to say, my friend and some of my other friends definitely got a good laugh out of it when they heard about it later. And thankfully, though, I didn't hear about it too often, because pretty much every guy has failures like that. Maybe not exactly like that, but you know what? Over the course of our lives, there are definitely many times where we screw up and make a mistake where girls say or do the wrong thing and end up blowing it. You take your lumps, you move on, hopefully you learn from your mistake and don't make it again with the next girl. But one thing I've definitely found is if you learn from that one mistake, believe me, there are plenty of other ones you will make over the course of your dating career. All you can really hope to do is not to string too many of those mistakes together and avoid those really long dry spells. You will still have them, but you try to keep them to a minimum if at all possible. And the good thing is, when you get to be my age, you can look back and laugh at all your stupid mistakes and all your failures with your friends, your wife, or whoever else it may be. And like I said, just look back at it and laugh, and remember when you were young and foolish. If you guys wouldn't mind, please leave me a rating before you leave. And as always, I hope you really enjoyed the video. I will talk to all you soon, and I hope you have a good one.